Today's date is May 12, 1949. Today, after 316 days, 200,000 flights, and 4,700 tons of food and fuel dropped, Stalin's blockade on Allied access roads to Berlin have been lifted. As World War II came to an end, Berlin was divided into 4 zones: the American zone, the British zone, the French zone, and the Soviet zone. These temporary zones were established during the Potsdam Agreement. However, as the tension between communist and capitalist states escalated, Stalin devised a plan to force the non-communist powers out of Germany in a year's time, thus uniting Germany under one communist government. Stalin's plan was put into action when he established a blockade on all Allied access roads and railways to Berlin. Stalin's goal was to offer the Allied nations no other choice but to give up their territory and hand all of Berlin over to communism. But this plan was undermined. Though the access roads had never been a guarantee for the Allied nations, it was negotiated on November 30th, 1945, that Allied forces were guaranteed 3 20-mile-wide air corridors, providing free access to Berlin. Beginning on June 24, 1948, the United States Air Force and the United Kingdom's Royal Air Force, with help from the Australian, Canadian, New Zealand, and South African Air Forces, used former bomber planes to drop necessary daily supplies to western Berlin. These supplies included milk, flour, canned goods, fuel, medicine, and candy. Although this airlift was expected to last only 3 weeks, it ended up lasting for nearly a year. On August 1st, Soviets offered free food to anyone who crossed into East Berlin, but West Berliners rejected Soviet offers of food. Soviets also harassed Allied pilots and manipulated citizens via radio to no avail. And, finally, after the Soviet news agency reported a willingness by the Soviets to lift the blockade in mid-April, the Berlin blockade has been lifted, leaving the USSR frustrated and humiliated. After a year of dependence on American and British planes, Western Berlin is finally free.